how to solve the 4x4 Rubik's Cube. First of all, to solve any Rubik's Cube, you need to scramble it first. So let me do that really quick. Okay, that looks pretty scrambled. Alright, now the first thing you want to do when you're solving this Rubik's Cube is to get the center 4 pieces on every side to be the same and to be in the right order like they are on a 3x3. So it doesn't really matter. I prefer to use white as the beginning color because it's just easiest to me to distinguish from the others. It doesn't make a difference, but you know, whatever. So I see here that this piece, the white piece right there, if I move this over, we'll match it up and make a 2x1 bar. And that's the object, that's what you're going to be making most of the time while using this method, is 2x1 bars. Now, what we have here is a case where they're both on the same side, but they're not joined together. So this is easy, you can just bring it down, and then they're no longer together. Now if we move the top layer over so that they're on opposite sides, we can bring this one up and now they're together. And now if we put this on opposite sides of the cube, we can just bring this down and now we have the white center. Now the next step is to solve the opposite center. So white opposite is yellow. So what I like to do is, before I put anything on the top layer, I like to get a 2x1 bar on the layers here. So I see these two pieces. So if I move this, and it won't do anything to move it over. And if I do this, when I move it over, they won't be together. So I have to put it here so that when I move it over, it'll be in the same spot. Well, not same spot, but they'll be connected. So now that I have a 2x1 bar, I could just bring it up, but that messes up the white side. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to bring the layer that it's not on next to it down, and now move this layer twice, so now the 2x1 bar is in the layer you just moved down. So when you move it back up and fix the white side, the yellow 2x1 bar is now on the opposite side. And now we're going to make another 2x1 bar on the bottom. Alright, whoops, my bad. If I see that if I move this one over, when I move this piece over to here, it'll make a 2x1 bar. So now I can do the same thing, bring this down, move this into that same row, and bring it back up. And now I have the white and the yellow centers. Now the goal is to get a center on the it's kind of like a middle layer between the white and the yellow. So you have a good amount of freedom while you're making the first one to move these without having to move them back. And I see immediately that I always go and do blue next, because I know that if there's blue on top, then there's red right here, orange right here, and green right here. So if blue's on the top, red's on the right. So I see that I can bring this up to make a 2x1 bar. So that makes one. And I want to put it so it's parallel kind of, with the centers that I've already made, so that I can move these layers without breaking it. Like if it was like this, when I move it, it'll mess it up. So put it like that, and then I see these two are on the same face, so I can just move them apart. And now what I have here is when there's three. What you do when it's like this, I still consider this one the 2x1 bar, and now I just ignore that and I make a 2x1 bar here. So if you just ignore that, you can bring that one down, and then you can do whatever. So you bring it back up, and now you have the blue center. Now I like to do this red center. It's a lot easier if you do a center that's next to the center you just made, opposed to just across from it, because it'll be more difficult to pair these centers. It'll be a lot easier to mess up algorithms moving it like that all the way across. So I see right now there's already a 2x1 bar here and a 2x1 bar here. So I want to put that other 2x1 bar in this space right here. So if I bring that down so it's next to it, I can move it into where that one was, and then when I bring this back, it'll solve that center. Now to the last two centers. This part, it's where it's really easy to mess up where your centers go. Like if you accidentally put green next to blue, which doesn't happen because green is across from blue. So we know that green is across from blue, so there's usually a 2x1 bar on at least one of these sides, and it's pretty easy to work with if you do this. So you ignore the 2x1 bar that's parallel with it, with the white and yellow centers, and then if you bring this one down, it makes another 2x1 bar, and when you bring it back into that place, you can bring it back up and it solves that one, and it automatically solves this one because there's no way that there could be any other pieces here, so they automatically get solved. Make sure to stay tuned for part 2 on how to pair up edges. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.